Aitzquel, Siemna Siaya, Aitzqualwen, Guanasigumnala. I'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the lands of the Hulkaminam speaking people, specifically the Palmerton Village. The Board of Education is honored to be able to collaboratively walk beside the Cowichan, Malahats, Sabasas, Halal, Penelakut, Stimanis, and Layakson peoples who have cared for this land for thousands of years. May we walk gently on the ceded and unceded territories of their lands as we work together to lift up all Hasnam. All right, the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley adopts the agenda of the April 2nd, 2024 board meeting. Moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Doman. All those in favor? Thank you. Minutes of the March 5th open board meeting that the Board of Education of School District 79 Cowichan Valley adopts the minutes of the March 5th, 2024 open board meeting. Moved by Trustee Lise, seconded by Trustee Zusa. All those in favor? Thank you. Recognition of delegations, our favorite part of the meeting. So today we have some recognitions for some gold medal winners from the BC Winter Games. So the Board of Education would like to recognize the following 3 students from the Cowichan Valley School District who competed and won gold medals at the 2024 BC Winter Games held February 22nd to the 25th in Quesnel. Joining us tonight are students Grayson McGee from Shemana Secondary School. There he is. Elijah, is it Ludlow?
Yeah.
Excellent. From Quamachin and Micaiah. Is it Micaiah?
I don't think she's here.
She's not here? Okay. From Francis Kelsey. Grayson competed in archery and received gold medals in 2 events: boys aggregate barebow, excellent, and boys match play barebow. Elijah from Quamachin competed in judo and earned a gold medal in his weight class for 66 kg. And then Micaiah from Francis Kelsey competed in artistic gymnastics and was a part of a gold medal winning women's artistic gymnastic team. We also have a little bit about Elijah. Started practicing judo in 2020. Since then, he has become fully committed to his judo practice. Elijah is not your average teenager. He not only practices his judo regularly, but is committed to being an athlete. He is fully committed to a healthy lifestyle. He thinks about his diet and what foods fuel his body. He works out in a gym 5 days a week in order to increase his strength and cardiovascular abilities. He goes to the gym whether he's tired or not. Bravo. He practices judo as much as possible, attending practices in Victoria, Nanaimo, and Duncan regularly. He attends every competition as possible and will be attending nationals in Montreal again this May. Wow. All of this is only possible because of his very committed sensei, Jeremy Grant. John Kirsten.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Stephen. Thank you. These senseis go above and beyond for all judoka every day. Jeremy and John attend every competition all across Canada and with these kids and sacrifice every weekend to do this from September to June. Judo is not only a life sport, but a way of life. So I ask you 2 students to please come up, as the board has a little bit of a gift for you. Congratulations. Thank you so much. There you go. Keep going in your sport. Hi again.
Hi.
I really wish you had worn your medals though, you guys. There you go. Feel free to escape if you would like. Congratulations.
We do have Elijah's medal here. He just
Oh, we share.
Wow.
Congratulations. If you want to put it on and show everybody, that would be wonderful.
How heavy is it?
Oh, wow. They are very impressive.
Wow. Congratulations.
Very impressive. Congratulations. Thank you. And feel free to escape if you would like.
Thank you very much.
You bet. It's really hot there. That's cool. Always nice to watch our kids do amazing things. All right, 6.1, report of close, Mr. Sackless.
Thank you. The board met in closed session just prior to this open. There were personnel, the budget liaison feedback was reviewed, and there were facility issues. The meeting was not completed and will reconvene following open.
Thank you. Action list. I see we have superintendent's is done. Mr. Sandquist.
Yeah, bringing up the action list, I do have an item, and we are very, very close to having the Cowichan secondary disposal package completed and to the ministry.
Yeah. Any questions? Saying none. Superintendent of schools, communication.
Great, thank you. 8.1.1, this is with regard to communication process regarding principal and vice principal transfers for 2024-2025 school year. Currently, I'm in discussion with principals and vice principals, and an announcement will be forthcoming in and about on April the 25th overall. Okay. There have been no changes this month with regard to some of those assignments, so we can move forward. Moving on to 8.2 for board information, just wanted to let the board know that on April the 28th, it is the National Day of Mourning. Flags in schools across the district and the school board office will fly at half-mast on April the 28th in recognition of the National Day of Mourning, which honors those who were injured or killed in workplace accidents and collectively renews our commitment to improve health and safety in our schools and in our workplaces. Moving on to 8.2.2, April the 22nd is Earth Day. The school district is committed to continuing to work on our journey towards environmental sustainability. In recent years, the board declared a climate emergency and has also established a climate change committee. And so we're moving forward with regard to some of those projects in our commitment to Earth Day, which is being celebrated on April 22nd. 8.2.3. It's a time where we honor on May the 5th, it's coming up before our next board meeting, the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls and Two-Spirit People. It's also known as Red Dress Day, where red is worn or red clothing is displayed to honor and remember missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. So we have a number of events coming up. I'll move on to the superintendent's update. Unfortunately, I don't have any photos this month. It's been a short month since our last meeting, and so we do not have any of those, but I can certainly update you on a number of other things. So firstly, I'd like to thank all staff who worked during the spring break, including payroll, finance, human resources, operations, and technology. Many of those folks continue to work during closure week as well as the spring break. Moving on as well, just a reminder that coming up on April the 24th is Administrative Professionals Day. It's a day to acknowledge the contributions of the district's administrative support, which keeps the learning community operating smoothly. So those two things are coming up. Also, the month of April is Autism Awareness Month. It's a month to identify the contributions, challenges, and successes of people with autism. And today, specifically on April the 2nd, is World Autism Awareness Day. It's a day to come together to raise awareness about autism, a condition that many Canadians have. That's today. Moving on, half-masting of flags for the late Right Honorable Brian Mulrooney. So you might have took note that the flags at Cowichan Valley School District and at the school district office were flown at half-mast to honor the memory of the late Right Honorable Brian Mulrooney, who passed away on February the 29th of 2024. Okay. Provincial assessments are coming up again. Literacy and numeracy grade 10 assessments and literacy grade 12. The spring session is coming forward. So grades 10 and grade 12, those administration session dates will be held from April the 15th to April the 19th. The June assessment days are June the 10th through the 14th, 2024. So any student who is looking to graduate must actually take those assessments in order to be part of their graduation program. Skills Canada Regionals Results and Provincial Competition. So I think this is very exciting news. This year there were a total of 298 Cowichan Valley School District competitors in Skills Canada regional events. 235 were junior competitors and 63 were secondary competitors. The events were held at the following venues. Seavault held the Gearbots Senior Robotics Sumo Bots. Myself and Dolly and I attended there briefly. Cowichan Secondary, they conducted the competition in cabinet making, photography, and graphics. Shemana Secondary held a competition in wind turbine. Camosun College held electronics, and at Vancouver Island University, professional cook, welding, carpentry, and hairstylist competition occurred there. We will have 28 competitors representing the Cowichan Valley School District in 11 different events at the Skills Canada Provincial Skills Competition on April 17th in Abbotsford. Students who place gold in this event will advance to the Nationals in Quebec on May 30th and 31st. So we wish those 28 competitors well as they move on onto Abbotsford. I'm sure we're going to have to come up with some of those gold winners out of 28 competitors. So looking forward to hearing from Ryan Goff with regard to that. Youth Work in Trades Awards. Our Careers Department, which we are very proud of, proudly handed out $71,000 checks to Youth Work in Trades award winners this year. The award is given on behalf of the Ministry of Education and Childcare and Skilled Trades BC to students working in the trades. The department exceeded their estimate this year and have 109 apprentices signed up with 310 youth work courses completed so far. To be eligible for the award, the students must have been registered with Skilled Trades BC as an apprentice, have graduated, successfully completed 4 work and trades courses, and reported to Skills Trades BC that they worked a total of at least 900 hours as an apprentice in a trade by January the 31st of the school year they turn 19. So you can see there's a lot of criteria for that. That's one of the reasons why we have such a difficult time getting them here, because they're at their work site working those hours from really 8 to 5, maybe 7:30 to 4:30. So regardless, this award is intended to help apprentices continue in the trade through the partial payment of tuition or the purchase of tools and or supplies. So congratulations to all of those folks. We have some inclusive events that have occurred and are occurring in the near future. So the first one was around orientation for trail riders. So on March 27th, here at the board office in the Inspire room, there was an orientation for trail riders around accessibility and mobility devices for wilderness areas. That was one. Coming up is sledge hockey. So Maple Bay class field trip with Victoria Sledge Hockey is providing 2 sledges to make the field trip accessible to the whole class. I'm not quite sure what that is, but maybe we can find out more. So on April the 4th,
it's a seat. You've
Okay.
never watched hockey with people with disabilities?
yes, I have, but I wasn't sure about how they were providing this. Maple Bay class field trip with Victoria Sledge Hockey are providing 2 sledges to make the field trip accessible to the whole class. Thank you. Yeah. So that is happening on April the 4th at the Cowichan Arena. So 10:30 to 11:45, if any of one would like to attend.
May 4th.
May 4th, April 4th, 10:30 to 11:45. Okay, Wheel Kids. This is another one. On April the 9th, Wheel Kids, 10 wheelchairs at Lake Cowichan School for inclusive PHE activity on April the 9th from 10:25 to 11:46 a.m. is being held at Lake Cowichan. Another inclusive activity. BC Blind School Sports Day is tentatively scheduled for May 29th at Mount Prevost. More information to come. So I'd like to thank Inclusive Education for those events being held. And then there's a few more things coming up with regard to Catalyst. We have our district chess tournament. April the 10th is the district chess tournament, 8:30 to 1:30 at George Bonner. If you recall, I think the last time I reported this, that you might want to come a little bit later because that's when the celebration will occur. And there's the District Drama Challenge. May 2nd is the District Drama Challenge from 8:30 to noon at Quamachin. So if you'd like to attend that, you're welcome to go there as well. We also have some dates of Two-Spirit LGBTQIA+ recognition. It went out to the entire community. And so we have the International Trans Day of Visibility. Sunday, March 31st was that day, which is intended to recognize the experience and voices of transgender people in our community. And on this day, ask yourself how you can be an active ally for transgender members of our community. Secondly, we have the International Day of Pink. Wednesday, April the 10th is International Day of Pink to raise awareness about the need to stop all forms of bullying, particularly those targeting the Two-Spirit LGBTQIA+ community. On this day, people around the world stand together against homophobic and transphobic bullying. And then in June is Pride Month. And so the Cowichan Valley School District celebrates Pride Month as one way to bring awareness to the historic and ongoing marginalization of members of this community and to acknowledge current attempts to remove protected rights from this group. So we are inviting all of you to join the Cowichan School District group at the Cowichan Walk and Festival Pride Parade, which will again be running this year on Sunday, June 23rd at 10 a.m. We have flags, stickers, and a big banner to walk behind. 10 a.m.
Thank you.
I'll make sure I have it right. And I wanted to share with the board, some of the trustees were there. I believe that we had this beautiful long service recognition tea on March the 7th, where the board recognized the significant work milestones of all of our employees who had reached 25, 30, and 35 years of service. The 35 years of service went away with a very, very large framed beautiful photo of their service, and I think they were quite proud of that as well.
They love them.
So it was a great recognition, and it was the first year we've done it in a very long time, and I think it's something that will get some further legs because I think the people who came really enjoyed themselves.
They did.
On April the 15th, we have our non-instructional day. It's the first half of the day we'll focus on literacy and numeracy. During the second half of the day, school teams will work on a framework for enhancing student learning. So that's on April the 15th. And then from May 6th to the 10th is Mental Health Week. This year's Mental Health Week is centered on the healing power of compassion. So that is my report. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate.
Seeing none, thank you, Superintendent. Mr. Nyquist.
Thank you. I have a one-pager operating budget summary overview for the 2024-2025. Last week's BEBC, Board Education and Business Committee meeting. Spent a fair bit of time reviewing the opening budget position. And so this is just really now for the public in this information to know where we're at. We are projecting a modest enrollment increase of 71 FTE next year. That is the light green bar. The two green bars to the right of that are our projections for the next 2 years. So definitely a stabilization in our student population. We've talked a lot about our lower birth rates and our decline in school-aged in-migration through this process. So we are projecting a small, modest increase. That will see the grant grow really only for those 71 FTE and 3% for wage increase. We are still not being funded for inflation and for many of the benefit pressures that have gone up with inflation as well, which creates part of the budget problem that we're trying to solve this year. Looking at the expenditure group here, this pie has a lot of pieces to it. But if you take the blue on the right and the blue on the left and everything below, that's our employees, that's our employees' salaries and benefits. That still represents about 90% of budget in this draft, with 10% being made up of services and supplies, which are the services, insurance, supplies, utilities, and a little bit for capital. And then under function, the big blue pie, that's instruction, so that is all of the classroom, school-based services. We have transportation and housing at around 3%. operations and maintenance around 11, and district admin around 4. Then moving down, here's where we can see the amount of how our budget has grown over time, and maybe there should be a left to right read rather than a right to left read. Robin and I had some conversation about about how this should flow. But we can see that in 2022-2023, the annual budget was about 94 million, and then by the time we amended it, it had grown to 97. We entered the next year at 105. That was a 6.75% wage increase. That grew to 109, and we're starting out right now at 111. So that balance there of a negative 3574,719 is the budget issue that we're trying to solve. That is our shortfall when we look at the revenues in and the expenditures as we had presented them last Tuesday. So we'll have a lot more on that next week with some options to deal with that shortfall.
Can I ask a question? So each year we know what's been projected and what we needed to balance the budget. So when you guys are looking at this, even though it looks like you need to look for 3,574,000 and change, are you really looking for 3 million, or are you looking for closer to 5 million?
3 million. Okay. Yeah, so this is without utilizing any surplus yet, and we'll have to have conversations about what an appropriate amount is to bring in. But we did look last Tuesday at what's projected for this year, added to what was remaining unexpended. Right now, it looks like there's approximately $4.2 million in surplus projected for the end of the year. If we draw 2 million, that puts the board sort of square in the middle of your 1% contingency policy. You'd have about 2.2. That's about 2% based on $111 million budget. So I believe what you'll see next week will be a proposal that will bring in 2 million surplus. So you'd be truly looking for 1.6 million to make up for the other shortfalls. Trustee Clark.
In the news, there was something mentioned about with the carbon credit that schools would be eligible for significant rebate. Has that landed on your desk at all?
We see it in the capital programs, which I'll have coming up here next. But at this point, there aren't any real details around anything coming into the operating side of our revenue. But I'll show you where we do get it here in a moment.
Nice.
So that's an information item. Moving along with no further questions, capital announcement. So the board submits a 5-year capital plan for both major and minor capital projects every year. The minor capital, we didn't get any major, because that's usually when we're getting a new school, but we did get some minor, and these are listed here. We have various programs that they're funded under. And under this year, so under the school enhancement program, there's I believe phase 2 of the HVAC upgrade for Quamachin School, $675,000. The board are going to receive under the carbon neutral capital program, $900,000 of funding through that program, and that is funded through capital offsets and demerits and other things that get paid into the system. So that is TANSR receiving that. Under the food infrastructure program is $200,000 to complete the kitchen equipment upgrades for the delivery of the Feeding Futures Fund. The board had received $170,000 this year. We have that extended. We weren't able to roll that entire project out by March 31st, so that COA has been extended for another I believe 6 months to allow that work to complete. So then they'll have this phase as well. And you can see the various schools there that are planned to receive that program money. You don't see a playground this round. The board isn't going to receive one of those every single time. There is an ask for one, so that was one that hopefully will show up next time. There are 3 school bus replacements here. There's no amount attached to them because it really depends on how the board proceed with the type of buses that wish to be acquired, and even the brand of bus as far as a diesel. So they typically are funding us, the board, on a diesel. If the board wishes to go electric, that requires some additional grant work to make up the difference. The pricing is about $250,000 different. But there's now also an interesting option around propane that may allow these 3 buses to become 4 buses and provide some of those in between diesel and electric environmental reductions or emission reductions. So we're exploring that, and I think there's potential for a loaner bus here for a month to look at how those propane run.
May I ask you a question, Mr. Sundquist? We know that we can't get as many students on an electric bus and that they can't run a lot of our routes. What is the seating capacity for the propane versus the diesel?
I think it's just slightly lower than the diesel. It isn't exactly the same, but I believe it's a couple of seats smaller.
Does anybody else have any questions? Sorry,
Just
Trustee Lizzie.
just going back to the kitchen equipment and upgrades, so there are 12 schools and 200,000. Is that dispersed evenly, or how? Or do they have a wish list for what they need? How does that work?
There are plans for each one of these schools that were different, that were consolidated to put that dollar amount together. This is a relatively small fund provincially. We have received a very good share of it with 200,000. I believe it's about $5 million a year, and it's a 2-year program. So we've done very well in asking for these funds.
Trustee Dunn?
How many bus manufacturers are there? Like that the provincial government kind of says, okay, you got this one, this one, this one.
There's quite a list. I don't have them all memorized, but there's a lot of different, even models among the manufacturers. You know, whether you want one that has the propulsion in the rear, or your engine in the rear, or your engine in the front, or whether you go electric, whether you go propane, the sizes change. The options change, so they have a significant list, and they basically give us an option list when it's time to purchase to select from. I think there's been a lot of standardizing around Bluebird as our standard over time, and that's worked out well just from tooling and training, for instance, with the mechanics. But yeah, there's quite a list.
Any other questions? Moving on.
I'd say also just availability is also a factor. We're about 18 months on an electric, where the diesel and propane are much sooner turnaround. So there is a request for motions here. We need to, by bylaw, by capital bylaw, which is included in the package, have 3 readings of the capital bylaw. So they are here in the action.
Are you ready for? Excellent. Right, that the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley give first reading to Capital Bylaw 2024-2025 CPSD 7901 Capital Plan 2024-2025. Moved by Trustee Thomas, seconded by Trustee Kraft. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley give second reading to Capital Bylaw number 2024-2025 CPSD 7901 Capital Plan 2024-2025, moved by Trustee Thorn, seconded by Trustee Strachan. All those in favor? That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley consider 3 readings of Capital Bylaw number 2024-2025 CPSD 7901 Capital Plan 2024-2025 at this meeting, moved by Trustee Lizzie, seconded by Trustee Doman. All those in favor? Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley gives third and final reading to Capital Bylaw number 2024-2025 CPSD 79-01 Capital Plan 2024-2025, moved by Trustee Thorne, seconded by Trustee Doman. All those in favor? Thank you. Trustee Sousa, did you want to just abstain?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Committees and outside organizations. Student travel?
I can certainly go through.
Please.
Are you referring to motions arising from the March 29th BABC meeting? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, that's international fees.
Yeah.
Sorry. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley approves the 2024, 2025, 2026, and 2026, 2027 international student program fees as presented. That's just something weird. Thank you. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley review the recommend.
Did you get a mover and seconder on that motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Say it out loud, yeah.
Moved by Trustee Sousa, seconded by Trustee Strachan. Sorry, moving on. That the Board of Education of.
Did they need to vote?
No, yeah, they did.
Did actually vote.
They did actually vote. They're all in favor. Yeah, look at them. It's a smiley group of trustees. Guys, thanks for playing with me there.
I just wanted to see if Jason would notice.
Right? I mean, he's on his game
Yeah,
tonight. You're always on your game. That the Board of Education of School District 79, Cowichan Valley review the recommendations made by Drinkwater Elementary students during their presentation on the Be Smarter Digital Citizenship Code of Conduct. Moved by Trustee Sousa, seconded by Trustee Croft. Before you vote, I want to let you know that as Mr. Russell was getting ready to leave the district, I asked him to write a letter to the Ministry of Education and Childcare asking or requesting a meeting that the board would like to facilitate a meeting with the students of Drinkwater Elementary so that they could present Be Smarter. And so that letter has gone or is about to go.
Vote to go.
It's about to go. So that letter's been done and now we have to just look at policy. So, all those in favor? Opposed? Of course not. Thank you, everybody. Take a look at the upcoming schedule of meetings and events. Do we know when we're going to get the times for district scholarships?
I don't know at this point in time, but we'll do our best to get it to you ASAP.
Trustees, do you see anything missing there? Seeing none. No correspondence, no news business. Question period for all those online. Please remember that your questions need to be with topics on the agenda. Is there any questions from the gallery? We'll start with you guys.
They have a form.
What do you mean?
They have a form.
Oh, excellent.
The gallery.
Oh, sorry?
Per policy, the gallery asks their questions with the
Yes,
forms at the
yes,
end. That'll come through.
and they haven't. Is there anything online?
Not seeing any questions at this time online. If anybody online has a question and would like to just say that you're going to type it out, that would be good to put into the question and answer line. Nothing's coming in.
Motion to adjourn. Moved by Trustee Sousa, second by Trustee Doman. All those in favor? Thank you.